This week, I wrote a song about my laundry. Maybe you can relate. I found a love that's really deep. He even stares at me while I'm asleep. Laundry. Yeah, my pile of laundry. I could fold it same day and put it away, but we all know that corner's where it stays. Laundry. I'm not every woman, it's not all in me. I got lights and darks as far as I can see. Laundry. It never folds itself, it never goes away. I'm ready to wear the same shirt every day. Laundry. Don't wanna fold a sock that goes in a shoe. I can think of 80 things that I'd rather do. Laundry. I'm so sick of every week with this laundry shit. It's not a paying job, but I wish I could quit. Laundry. I hope you hear this song and you can relate. But if you're good at folding clothes, then aren't you great? Laundry. Yeah, my pile of laundry. Duh. Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello. Did you have a juicy week? I sure hope so. Apparently, the planets last week were going wild. Stuff's in retrograde. Planets are aligning. Life is good, baby. Want to hear about how I was able to get 4 grown men I'd known for 2 hours to blow up 20 balloons for me at 4 a.m. Saturday night? Sure you do. That's why you're here. If you're listening to this on Monday release day, it is my dear friend and roommate John's birthday. I wanted him to wake up to a house full of balloons on Sunday when we celebrated because, yay, being alive, you know? But it was also very important to my social life that I bopped around my neighborhood like the Tara Reid of Queens on Saturday night. I left the balloons in the same purse that I went out with, and I partied with these balloons in my purse all night. First bar was quiet, cute, divey, but the vibe we were in search of was not here. So we moved on. The next bar had a Beatles cover band. Oh, fun, great, good times pending. I'm no psychic, but if I was, I would be able to predict that an upcoming version of me would sing along with the cover band and really double down when it comes time to sing Take a Sad Song and Make It Better, only to find out we were on lyric, You Have Found Her, Now Go and Get Her. But we digress. As my friend and I sat at the bar waiting for the music to start, the guy next to me asks us to watch his drink, which just don't do this. Risk the seat. Don't risk the stranger. Lucky for this dope, me and Bill Cosby had different unsupervised beverage etiquette teachers, so his drink remained intact. He was so grateful he wanted to buy us shots. I don't want to do shots. I did, but I don't wanna. And when I was reflecting on this story earlier this afternoon, I said to myself, oh, this was a move. A tactic to get inside panties. We watch the drink, he rewards us, thus making himself the hero. He had pest energy. Nothing to offer but well tequila and car axe, cause I know he sprayed the shit from the car. Honestly, I can fuck with some house axe on a dude. But get your life together. If you're out here spraying car axe, it reeks of the lingering errands you did all day, and errand energy kills the vibe. What do we do to get rid of him? Listen, I don't want to waste your time. You had an original entry tactic. I like that kind of gumption. Unfortunately, I would not like to get to know you at this time, and I wish you well in your future errands," is what someone else may have said. I chose to tell him that my friend was a religious fanatic. She did the sign of the cross about 4 times, and boom, baby, he walked away. Make your own fun, people. We pop over to bar number 3, and this bar is the bar for people in their 30s. I can't explain it. It's just amazing. I always meet fun, cutie patooties there. Tonight was no exception. My friend, she is happily engaged. Her fiance is a dear close friend as well, and because of this, she is an excellent wingwoman. She is the best friend equivalent of someone else getting the prize out of the claw machine and then handing it to you. And now you're thinking about Squid Game, and so am I. We make friends with 4 fun-looking guys who are just giving off great energy. I'm flirting with one of them only to find out that he went to college with none other than my bestie wing woman of the year's fiance. Now this guy's excited, we're excited, the friends are excited, we get him on the phone, there are laughs, there's yells, there's cheering, and all I'm thinking is life is a simulation and nothing is real. How is this happening right now? Or everything is real. Then they invited us to chill at their place and have some beers, and we did it, and it was fun, and we laughed, and most importantly, we made some new, fun, good time, single guys to party with, who came highly recommended. Then I say to the group, we gotta go. I'm gonna be blowing up balloons till 6 a.m. at this rate. Their leader asked me if I had the balloons on me. Yeah, I do actually. Why, you wanna blow them up? And he said yes. And the 6 of us sat there and blew up these balloons in what took maybe 3 minutes. Put them in garbage bags and hopped in an Uber home at 3:45 a.m. Thanks a lot, fellas. May we rage again soon. There is a lesson here for the person that needs this embedded in her subconscious. If you need to sneak your drink in your bag to leave because you haven't finished it and you want a roadie, then you absolutely do not need a roadie. That brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts, my most stoned thoughts of the week. Number 1, manifesting is so real, so choose wisely. Number 2, on Wednesday I said, I can't believe it's Wednesday. And truthfully, I couldn't. Number 3, do you ever really read tweets or will you be tweets? That feels like I was on Edible Island because I have no idea what I was trying to say or where I was going. Number 4, cooked macaroni. It's 2021. Why are we still boiling pasta like this is 1802? I don't know what year pasta came out, but somebody figure out how we can just grab and go this shit because I am tired of this antiquated step. Number 5, anyone can speak to each other, but to communicate to each other, you have to speak the same language. Okay, deep. I'll speak for stoned me when I say, I don't think I was talking about language, Jaffiels. Number 6, how is it going to affect kids when they finally listen to their great-grandparents' podcasts? And number 7, watching a cover band is like watching karaoke stars who made it to the boss level. My guest this week is comedian Matty Chymbor. You have seen him on TikTok. You have seen him on Reels pumping out the content for the scrolling masses and cracking us up while he does it. I first discovered who Matty was in early 2021, and I have been in stitches ever since. Plus, we're both originally from the same county in Connecticut, so it's just cool to get to connect on that level since he's out in LA, I'm in the city. His wild word was degenerate, and his wild night does not disappoint. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Wild Nights with Rocky, on Twitter at Wild Nights Pod. If you are a tried and true member of the Party God Squad, thank you so much for the review on Apple Podcasts, and a future thank you to those of you who just paused the pod to write one right now. It really does make a difference. For extended interviews, make sure to subscribe on YouTube as well. And now, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with Matty Chymbor. Matty Chymbor, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Yeah, baby. Wild Nights with Rocky.
I'm so excited. Actually, we had to stop our pre-interview conversation because our conversation was going so well.
It was just the podcast. We're going to do the same interview twice.
We're going to do it twice, but I have a ton of questions for you. And usually, Matty, I do some small talk, I ask questions, but because I have so many questions for you, I just want to get into your wild night story, and then we'll get into the interview portion.
So we
So,
want to go crazy. We want to go crazy, then calm,
crazy?
assuming the questions are calm.
Yes, the storm before the calm.
Yeah, the calm before this. Oh, I guess yeah. It's flip flop.
I flip flopped it on you. So, Party God Squad, Maddie's wild word was degenerate.
Just
And Maddie,
trash human.
trash human, even though he looks and he sounds like a good boy, we are going to hear Matty Chymbor's degenerate story. So, Maddie, give it to us.
Well, first, fair warning. This is an average story of debauchery. It's
Would
nothing
you say it's
wild.
wildly average?
It's wildly average, which is the line of my merch. So feel free to grab a hat.
Grab a hat, everybody. Grab a hat, grab a t shirt. Even though,
uh,
Maddie, I have to say, and I don't mean to cut down your merch because I want you to sell it and make money. I do not think you're wildly average by any I understand why you need to be the leader of the wildly average, but I don't think you're wildly
it's a
average.
side, just to do a sidebar, and it's funny. I was talking to my friend last night about it at a show. Most comics have merch where I like how this is becoming a merch plug right at the gate.
Merch
People, it
plug.
won't be like this. I don't care. You don't have to buy shit. I don't even have one. But most comics merch is like a line from their set, some
Yeah.
like hokey, like I'm with stupid asshole, like some dumb shit. So
Yeah.
my thought was like, let's make it separate from me. So if I'm trying to be some sort of entrepreneur one day, it can go on its own, and I'm affiliated with it, but also you can wear it and you're not wearing some cheesy comedy shirt. So I
Right.
guess, and I'll be perfectly honest, like I saw like Caller Daddy. I looked at merch of other podcasts
Yeah.
and people in general, and theirs is like unwell. I do like the idea of like slightly self-deprecating term. Like people like
Mm.
wearing that shit. You know, like I could
Yeah.
just see girls being like, I'm wildly average, even though they damn well think they're hot as shit. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
just people in general. So that's it. But thank you very much. I mean, I think I'm average, but the fact that you don't is very nice. So thank you.
You're very welcome, Maddie. All right, let's hear your degenerate story.
Cool. Well, with both of us being from Connecticut, have you ever been to Eastern Connecticut?
No, I've been to Western. My little brother went to Western, and I've gone to party for spring weekend at UConn, but I've
Oh
never been to
Christ,
Eastern.
I mean, that's a rite of passage if we're gonna get
Yes.
real Connecticut on people. But
Yeah.
Eastern Connecticut is a shithole in Willimantic, Connecticut, heroin capital of the country. Look
Whoop
it
whoop.
up. We're on the map. And my buddy went there. He was like a fifth year senior. My friends are doing well, and basically I was like, whatever. I'm trying to just like, I mean, it's funny when you leave college and you're like, I'm an old guy, I shouldn't go back to college, but you're like
Right.
still 22. You're like, no
Yeah.
one would ever know. It's not like me going there now trying to like play beer pong. I'm 34. That'd be disgusting.
You'd
But
probably sweep the floor with them though.
yeah, and then I'd probably go to bed at 10, and they're just like, who's this old man sleeping on the couch? But
Oh, he's wearing a wildly
uh
average shirt. It's Matty Chymbor.
yeah, yeah, is he crying? But basically, so I was all excited, and it was me, my stepbrother, and my best friend Adam,
uh
and we're, it was typical night. We go, standard fashion, pregame, get wild. I was really
Yeah.
excited because he was like, "Dude, this party's sick." I was single, newly single at the time. I was ready to just get after these college parties, go
Yeah.
just meet everybody. So I was like, shit. So I'm trying to think like what the drink was back then. I feel like, I mean, this is pre White Claw. This is like 2007, I think,
Maybe Four
2006.
Locos. Were those popular?
No, the Four Locos was like 2010. So I don't even
Oh, yes.
know. I think we were just trash beer people back then,
Yeah.
or because I wasn't doing vodka like that hard. Maybe like a shot of like Captain Morgan, like I was,
Natty Light.
yeah, Natty Light. Yeah, it was some sort of low quality beer, which
Right.
Bush Light I don't hate. But anyways, so we're pre-gaming. Of course, when you pre-game, you teeter on the line of just getting fucked up and
Yeah.
not leaving the apartment. But anyways, we kind of got it together. We're walk. It was a pretty long walk. I remember from his apartment, mind you. It's so weird living in a city now, and you could probably attest where like when you go back to like your home state in these colleges, they're like, oh, we're walking to a party. It's like 2 miles. You're like,
Right.
what are we doing? But this is pre-Uber.
Yeah.
You had to put on your walking shoes. You're like, we're going through woods. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
the
yeah,
fuck we're
yeah,
doing.
yeah. It's like the
Versus
start of
like,
a murder, yeah.
yeah, versus like, I mean, living in a city, yeah, if it's a little bit of a walk, although you New York people walk everywhere. You guys pride yourself on your walking shoes. So maybe it's my LA pussiness that's highlighting right now.
Well,
But
it's funny. I had someone on, I had a comedian on last week, and Pat Quinn. I had him
I
on.
love Pat. I love
Yes,
Pat.
and I was saying to him, because we were talking about walking in his story, and I said to him how when you're out of town, out of New York, you're like, oh yeah, I can walk 15 minutes. It's nothing, but it's not a good idea.
No, it's like, yeah, I'm not a walker anymore.
Hmm.
There's a Trader Joe's. I'm not even kidding you. Maybe 100 yards from my apartment, and I still drive there because I'm like, I'm just not that guy. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
walk to
yeah,
get coffee, but then even if there's a slight incline, I'm like, I'm over it.
yeah.
But anyways, this is when I was a Connecticut boy, and we
Hmm.
just walked, and it was fucking. I remember it was March, so it was still like that. We thought it was spring, even though it's still 38 degrees out at night.
Yeah.
Just poor choices all around. It was rainy. I remember it was the night it didn't rain, but later in the story it rained.
Uh-huh.
So walking there, we finally get to the neighborhood. I think he's like, dude, it's like a couple neighborhoods over, blah blah blah. So mind you, I'm drunk. People are all walking there. You know where the party is. There looks like an army of 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm trying to like, no one knows me.
Yeah.
I'm drunk. So I saw you're walking through a neighborhood and there was a house and there was a flag on the door
Uh-huh.
and it was sticking out, which is very East Coast neighborhoody thing.
Yeah.
And there was a cat. There was a cat flag basically.
The
And I was
flag
like,
had a
dude,
cat on it.
just a typical, think of a grandma's house with a flag and there's a cat on the flag. It was like some sort of Lisa Ann. I don't even know if that's a designer, sounds like one, like
Lisa
just
Frank?
knitted. Lisa Frank it. No, not Lisa Frank. Lisa Frank's like that pencil art shit.
Yeah.
Uh, some sort of embroidered cat flag. Imagine
Gotcha.
that. Looked like a blanket almost. But
Yikes.
basically, yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm the cool guy. My shit doesn't stink. I took the flag and I was like waving it and people were like loving it. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna bring a cat flag to the party. It's gonna
You
be
got to.
funny. And I remember we walked like, I sort of got like 10 houses and I was already just over it. I was like, okay, fuck this flag. It's already
Hmm.
annoying to carry. So I threw it on the ground and I swear to God, we walked 3 more houses, like maybe 2 more houses, and the cops start driving up the street. And I was
No.
like, I didn't think anything of it. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. I don't have it anymore. And then somebody pulled over and goes, did one of you take a flag? And I was just like, no. And then even my friends, luckily, this is where my friends are the shit. They stood next to me. So we were like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, really? Because that some girls on there said you were the guys that took the flag. And it's funny, like in the moment of like just being grilled, I don't know what it was where I was just like, don't talk because you're going to incriminate yourself.
Right,
So we
yeah.
said no, like, we said no like 3 times. And it got to the point where there was like hordes of college kids walking around us and they had their cop lights on me and my 2 friends
Oh my
and
God.
they're just grilling us like, did you take the flag? And I was just like, kept saying no, and I wouldn't say shit. And I was so mad because I was like, okay, I'm hoping they're just like, all right, get the fuck out of here, you don't have it. Mind you, didn't even have the fucking thing on me. And we, long story short, got put in handcuffs and arrested on the spot. Mind you, like hot girls are walking by,
Yeah.
versions of us earlier in the night are walking by, and I'm like, fuck, like this is the worst thing ever.
For a
So
cat
we then,
flag.
yeah, I'm a cat flag, not even a funny joke in hindsight. I'm a comedian now. I was like, you would have been a loser. What were you even thinking? That's not, no one fucks the cat flag guy at a
No.
party. Exactly. So I, so we get fucking handcuffed and we get processed at Willimantic um, police station.
Were you
And I
scared?
mean,
At this point, you're
on,
getting processed. Were you really scared, or were
uh,
you like, Matty Chymbor, I'll fucking take your
n-
cat flag and your
I
dog flag
wasn't,
too?
yeah, I'll fucking take all your flags. No, at the time I wasn't Matty, so I was just a scared Matt.
Oh, gotcha.
Uh, but it's funny, like when you're drunk, you're not scared because I think we were still trying to like, in the back of the car, we were trying. I mean, the cop knew we were drunk. He knew it
Right.
wasn't like So in hindsight, my buddy who's in criminal justice, he's like, why'd that fucking guy arrest you? He should have just said like, whatever, you're fine, you're drunk. I think he was trying to prove a point
Of course,
more
yeah.
so than us even doing anything. And I remember it just sucked when like we got to the police station, they took our prints, they took all our shit, and I was just like, God damn it. And I remember we're still drunk. So
Yeah.
me and my two other friends get put in like a 8x8 holding cell with a toilet and a bench, and they're bringing in legitimate like crazy people.
Right.
Like, and it's weird how it was like, say this is my cell and there's bars in front of me. Where you are is the door and the hallway's here. So we saw everybody they brought in.
Oh no.
So like, I mean, for the most part, if it was a big dude, we'd keep our mouth shut. But one time it was this like old lady, and we said some shit like, yeah. And then she started like talking shit. We're like, whatever, fucking bitch, whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember her, she put her face to the bars of our cell and go, when I get out, I'm going to fine you guys. And
Oh my God.
we just shut up so fast. It was just like, and then we heard her, she was like 2 cells over still talking shit to us, but of course we were drunk, so we're saying shit back.
Right. And then you're behind bars, so you have that safety net there.
Just typical white kid, like, I'm behind legitimate steel bars, I'll talk shit now, but if we were in front of her, we would all run away.
Right.
And then so then, I mean, as the night goes on, your buzz wears off.
Of course.
And it's like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. There's one bench. We're trying to like sleep. Yeah. And to be assholes, the cops can control the toilets from their office. So anytime one of us started to doze off, they would flush the toilet like 3 times.
Jesus.
So we literally were just up the whole night until, I'm not even kidding you, like 6 in the morning. And then the guy finally comes to our cell and goes, okay, guys, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. And it was literally from Willimantic, again, pre-Uber, nothing, from Willimantic's police office to my friend's dorm was like a 10-minute walk, and it was downpouring rain.
No,
I mean,
no.
From my night of like, I'm going to fuck a girl, I'm cool, no one knows me, all this shit, to walking home hungover as shit in the rain after getting arrested was the worst thing of my life. And just to go full circle in a way, I remember, so you got arrested, you had a court hearing, which mind you, none of us ever told our parents, thank God.
Oh my God, and you kept that a secret?
Yeah, we kind of took like a blood oath. We're like, you fucking tell anyone, I'm going to kill you, even though we knew it wasn't bad. And it was so funny, like just the bad luck. I swear that whole event was just bad luck, where I think Willimantic's cursed. But anyways, I remember the day we had to go for the court hearing. Yeah. I was going to drive up with my stepbrother. My friend was already up there because he was still in school. And I mean, it's a court hearing. You can't be late, all this shit. As I'm going to pick up my stepbrother, my car died.
No.
So mind you, I lied to my mom thinks I'm going to work. I call because I still lived at home at the time. Yeah. I told my work I'm sick. Now my car's just dead in an area that's nowhere near my commute to work. It was just lying on top of getting caught out. And then we finally get there, and the prosecutor, mind you don't even see the judge for these little slap on the wrist things. Yeah. And the funniest thing, not really even funny, but I remember we talked to the defender, whatever the guy who was defending us to go talk to the court. He was like, you stole. I mean, I guess he's a lawyer. I guess I was trying to think of like the term in the city at the time of like whatever the fuck.
Would he be a public defender?
Yeah, something like that. I thought prosecutor. Doesn't that sound right?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't know I was going to be tested on this, Matty. You know?
Yeah. Wild Nights with Rocky, lawyer quiz with Matty. And then I just remember it was funny where he's just flipping through the papers like, all right, seems like you guys got caught. And he looked at it real quick and he goes, you stole a cat? And then I had to correct him. I go, it was a cat flag. And he just looked at me, he goes, you guys are pussies. And then he wrote it off. We got like 10 hours community service, which at the time I worked at a day camp at the YMCA, and my boss there just signed off all our thing, and it's off our record. But that was just Willimantic, Connecticut in a nutshell. So That's my crazy story.
Woo!
Wow.
Wild nights. Maddie, that is wild. So let's not undercut that and say it wasn't a wild night. I know you're like, I don't know. It was. To be arrested and when you're like
Yeah,
trying
I
to
was
fuck.
arrested.
Yeah, he was arrested.
That's my tough guy shit. It's funny, a little detail in the jail cell. I was
Yeah.
like, I hope to never be in jail again. So when I was in there, I started doing push-ups to say I can do a jail cell workout in a jail
No.
cell.
No,
And I
you
was just like,
didn't.
and I was like, that's as douchey as taking a cat flag. And it's a detail I didn't need to tell, but I was like, let me just sprinkle that on top.
I'm glad that you gave that detail because that says a lot about you, Maddie. It says a lot
Just a
about you.
trashy New England douchebag. I've grown out of that though. I go by Matty now, and I live in LA, which is somewhat more douchey, but less masculine.
That's okay. I loved that story. I love anytime someone gets arrested and lives to tell about it. So I'm happy that that's what you chose to share. Did you ever go back to Eastern after that to party?
Absolutely not. No.
No.
I went there one other time. It was garbage. And I just go, I will never in the rest of my life set foot in Willimantic, Connecticut. And if I am, somebody come help me because it's not for a good reason. I shouldn't
Yeah,
be there. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So,
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. I had a bunch of friends over in high school, and I was friends with people who were like a couple grades. I had a lot of friends who were seniors when I was a sophomore. I did theater, so like the theater kids, we just kind of grouped together and fucked.
cool
Essentially,
girl. Hell yeah.
I was cool. I was cool for a theater girl. I was also a class treasurer, but I don't like to brag. So I
Wow.
so I had all my friends over. They were hanging out in my bedroom, and one of my friends comes over with this girl. He was at UConn at the time. I was still in high school, but he comes over with this girl that none of us know. There's like 8 people in my bedroom, and he just bursts in the
Your
door.
bedroom.
I know. My house was like my mom was kind of like the which is funny, today is October 3rd, but she's kind of like the Regina George mom. Like, if you're gonna drink, I'd rather you do it in the house kind of deal.
Oh,
So
cool. That's a cool mom.
she's a very
Especially in
cool
high
mom.
school. Wow.
Yes, yeah. So my house tended to be the hangout house. So, anyways, my friend burst in with this girl. She's got fire red hair. She comes in my room, and it turned out that she was from Willimantic, and they dated for like 2 months after that. But I just remember her like coming in uber confident, and Willimantic was the thing about her. So that's all I know from Willimantic.
Willimantic is the New Jersey of Connecticut.
That makes sense, and
It's just a
that double
weird
makes sense.
area. Although they're not like broy, it's just, I guess, if you take like the scary trash out of New Jersey and then you just put it in a little Willimantic-y nutshell,
Yeah,
it's just stripper vibes,
yeah.
drugs. Isn't it crazy that's the heroin capital? That was like a fact a long time ago, but I'm gonna just still tell people because it makes me proud of my state.
Yeah, it's actually scary. I've had quite a few people I went to high school with die of opioid overdoses like
Is
years
that
ago.
like recently or like a long time ago?
Like, I mean, I graduated in 2006, and so it was like people died like 5, 6 years ago, which is relatively young to die, obviously. So yeah, it's
I
pretty
mean,
bad.
I know a couple people who died because of that shit. And it's always, I mean, not to take a turn for the sad shit, but I mean, let's be honest. It's always it's like whenever you see like, oh, R.I.P. so and so, you kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together. I mean,
Hmm.
everybody's like, how did they die? As like sad as that, it's a bizarre
Yeah.
question you're asking yourself, but it is like, yeah, a lot of people. It's I think people are just so bored and that don't move away from their hometowns. Like I go home, I'm sure you're in your brother's room. Like that's what you could pop a couple pills there and have fun.
I
but
actually
like
do.
I
I
go,
have an edible waiting for me for later.
is that really an edible? Or is
It's
it
a
just good for the
CBD
cell?
edible, but yes,
Oh wow, you're about to get wild.
it's actually
Um,
pretty strong.
really, I've never
Yep.
done one of those. But yeah, you just go home and you just see people how like, or I mean, I go home and I swear, like when you're in a city and you can do something every second of the day, every night of the week, there's always something going on.
Stimulating, yeah.
It's awesome. It's such a great feeling because I remember never having shit to do in Connecticut. There'd be like a weekend where we did nothing because there was nothing going on.
Hmm.
But now, and then you get older and then your friends get married. I can see why people like get into drugs. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like I knew a kid, like my roommate in college, like I haven't seen him in a while. I saw him like when I was home probably a year and a half ago, and he's like, yeah, me and so just got into pills, and then we tried heroin and we stopped. And I'm like, first off, what the fuck did you just say to me? I go, one, you started pills. I go, you started heroin and you just stopped. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah, kudos to
commendable. And
you.
yeah, you just cold turkey quit heroin. He's like, it's not for me. But yeah, you just see, like, I think being bored has something to do with that recipe. But people in cities do it too. But I don't know.
It definitely does. And I could get into like the whole drug thing. Anybody who listens to this podcast knows I am a very big advocate of psilocybin, which is the chemical compound found in magic mushrooms. I think it could truly save the world, and it's like one of the least dangerous. It is the least dangerous drug for your body. Even less than marijuana. So yeah, I could get into a whole thing like that. So people get into the wrong drugs, if you ask me.
Rocky psilocybin hour, as you should call it.
That would be what every episode of this podcast would be, me just being like, mushrooms are the shit. But they are. Like, I'll go to concerts now and I'll microdose just a little bit of mushrooms, and I will not want to drink. Like, I like to get fucked up. I like to get to
I
drink.
want to drink.
But I don't even want to drink when I'm on them. I'm like, this is like party enough. And then there's no hangover, and you like love people more, and your ego
See,
is like down.
I'm not like a weed. I never got into weed. I did in college. I would take hits, and I swear to God, and this is my theory, I was wondering why, because in college I can take hits of weed in high school, and I loved it. It was like enjoyable. I would like relax and chill. And then I remember I went to Hawaii for a summer to play baseball. I played baseball in college, so I went there for this league. Remember the Cape Cod League? You ever hear of that?
No, but I believe it's real.
It's a very real thing. So there's like a version. It's like these summer collegiate baseball leagues. So anyways, I went, long story short, I was there, and I smoked like very potent weed, and it made me like super anxious and all this shit. And I swear to God, ever since then, I could never smoke weed again. And even to this day, but I'm like wondering, like, maybe just that East Coast 2005 weed was just so weak. It was palatable. And now the shit is like, my buddy came here probably like a month and a half ago. We had a couple of drinks, and he's like, "You want to smoke?" And I was like, "I'll give it a shot again." And I swear to God, I was anxious the whole time. And I guess what I'm getting at is, like, do you need to be able to handle weed to do the psilocybin stuff? Because everyone's like, you should try mushrooms. And I'm like, bro, I can barely smoke weed. Do you think I want to be terrified on mushrooms? That sounds like a 6-hour nightmare, So I don't know if you can clear the air on that.
I can, and I'd be happy to. So what I would say for you, since you've never done mushrooms before, is if you could find maybe a couple friends or people that you trust to do the mushrooms with the first time. That's when you want to like trip balls probably, and like cry and be happy and be like sad, and then don't let yourself like go, like be with people who are not going to let you go to a dark place. But
that's maybe a lot to ask.
Yeah. But
get 7 friends. They're all registered CPR. You're like, hold on, I don't like where this is going already.
I feel like I would be a good guru. Like, I feel like I could guide someone to do mushrooms for the first time and be like, they would be in a safe zone with me. I'm a very zen person, and like, I have a good energy.
Cut to us doing mushrooms. I'm 2 hours in crying, and you're in my face like, it's fine.
No. I would never say the sentence, it's fine. That's not a good sentence to say when someone's tripping, but I would come up with the right words. I think I would be very good at that. I tried to get my friend got us Kesha tickets randomly last month.
Okay, 2012.
She was really good. And so I was like, okay, we have to go. And so I brought mushrooms, but he had never done mushrooms before. And I was like, we're just going to microdose. And I shoved them, because they taste disgusting on their own. So I shoved them in watermelon slices, and I go, okay, today's the night you're going to like do these mushrooms. And he was like, yeah, no, it's not.
Did he eat it or no?
No, he didn't, and that is his choice, and I didn't peer pressure him. I ate mine, but then somebody passed out at the concert, and like they probably like took too much Molly or something, or were dehydrated or drunk. I don't know, but they passed out, and so the whole crowd, not as many people as you think, but a lot of the crowd was like get a medic, help her. But other people were like, ooh, I'm too scared to scream for help because our nation sucks.
You're like at an era of people doing so much Molly. You're like, I'm shocked somebody passing out triggered so much panic.
Well, people just stood there shell shocked. They were like, I don't know what to do. This girl panicked. And it wasn't seating. Everybody was kind of like in a crowd, which is great for COVID. But everyone, it was outside though, but everyone was kind of in a crowd. And people were just like, this one guy behind me, he goes, help, get a medic. Oh, I'm so embarrassed that I said that. And I was like, no,
what a piece of shit.
I was like, you can't be embarrassed. Like, she needs our help. But anyways, after that happened, I was on the mushrooms and I was kind of like, ooh, that was fucked up. And so I tried to light a joint, but then I like put it out and I smashed the whole joint. It was just a whole thing.
You dropped it on the passed out girl. Her eyebrow.
Like, give me your eyes.
Yeah, she can't feel it. She's not even up.
We're sending her good wishes. But Matty, you can't force it. You have to do it in a time that's right for you. But I think weed and mushrooms could save the world. So definitely, if you're on the East Coast, I will put you in a safe environment and get you high on the right supply.
I'm gonna do some fucking weed and pass out, and people are gonna start screaming. You know how many times you said that? It's like, you know how many times I've fallen asleep at lawn seats at Dave Matthews and no one panicked? Like,
really?
I mean, I've passed out. No one's like, I don't wake up to somebody doing CPR on me. I'm just drunk. But anyways,
I saw Dave Matthews last weekend.
Holy shit.
Yeah, 6th row center.
Wow, you're like the fan zone. I'm just like I don't even know what the music's going on zone. I'm like the guy on the way back. I'm like, I don't even know who's fucking playing at that point.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. The same friend that got me the Kesha tickets, we volunteered for Farm Aid at the Xfinity Center.
Right.
And my whole family was going because they are like big John Mellencamp fans, and John Mellencamp was there. And because I volunteered, I got a free ticket. And then me and him got to sit in the 6th row. So I watched Dave Matthews and John Mellencamp 6th row, and then I went back up to the lawn seats to watch Willie Nelson.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. But I'd never been to a Dave Matthews band concert, and it was just Dave Matthews and this guitarist. And Dave Matthews fans, they are on brand.
They are. I mean, I'm not even a fan. I would just go, but yeah, you can always tell who's the fans and who's just there to have fun. But yeah. I mean, granted, they're not there to have fun. But yeah, I never liked it. I don't like when bands jam. You do the song and then jam for 20 minutes, and you're like, dude, I mean, play this. I mean, that's a rude thing to say. That's like someone to come into my show being like, enough of the riffing, do the bit.
Stop doing crowd work.
You're like, I'll do what I want. But yeah.
You know what? You'd like jamming if you did mushrooms, I'll tell you that much.
I'd probably jam my head into the hospital because I'd be freaking out.
All right. Well, Connecticut aside, or not Connecticut aside, Connecticut on the forefront, I have to ask you. Favorite pizza place?
Sally's.
Sally's. Interesting.
Why? If people who say modern are stupid.
Okay. Bye, Matty. Thanks for doing the show.
Oh, is modern closer to you? Is that your area? No, modern's in New Haven.
Modern's in New Haven, but they're like Sally's and Modern are right like close.
Sally's is. I mean, I like Sally's fucking loser Barstool. Just for the record, Barstool Sports I absolutely hate. I think it's East Coast dudes who don't have a personality latch onto that to have something to talk about.
Right.
And Dave Portnoy's a pervert. I mean, not really, but I'm sure if I met him, I'd be like, hey, what's up, dude? But I don't know. I just the whole cult vibe of that is annoying, I guess. So
what did they do? What did Barstool do with Sally's Pizza? And just for everyone listening, sorry, we're going on this tangent. If you're not from Connecticut, New Haven has the best pizza in the country. If you're from Connecticut, you have a favorite pizza place. That is why we're having this conversation.
Right. So. Oh, I guess the Barstool Sports guy, he does like pizza reviews.
Oh, yes.
So he did Sally's, and I mean, of course, after that, good for the business. It's like a diners, drive-ins, and dives type thing. You know, obviously it's 1 minute and he just eats pizza and leaves. But as far as the effect of when he goes there, the business just goes crazy. And he gave it like one of the highest ratings, which I mean, I was a fan of it pre all that crap because I started stand-up across the street from Sally's at Joker's Wild.
Street?
On Joker's Wild, that comedy club that's there.
I did it,
mind you, like I tell people I started out here. That's how few times I did it in Connecticut.
Yeah.
But going back to the pizza thing, yeah, I mean, modern, I got it once and it was just like sloppy. It was unset and it was just like, and then Pepe's or Frank, yeah,
Yeah,
Pepe's.
Pepe's, yeah.
I've gone there before. I guess it's like, I'm sure if I ate them all now being in LA, I'd love them, but I just know when I go home, I get Sally's and I think it's delicious. So
It is. Yeah, Sally's is very good. I would say I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I go modern Pepe's, then Sally's, because sometimes,
really,
yeah, sometimes Sally's doesn't have enough cheese for me.
oh my God, you're a psychopath. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm serious. But if you've only had modern one time, that's like not. Come on.
In its defense, I've had it one time, and it's when I worked in New Haven at an architecture firm, and I went on my lunch break and got a small one
Mm-hmm.
for myself. Like I don't even remember if it was a slice. It wouldn't have been a slice. I
No, it
remember I
wouldn't
think it
have been
was
a
just a
slice.
small. It was just like a small one. So I was like, okay, maybe that's why you can't judge a place solely on their personal size pizza, considering they have to do the whole spiel. So
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, my pizza, when I go home, I'll eat literally gas station pizza, and I think it's good because the stuff out here is trash. Although I just did buy a pizza oven and I make pizza myself now, and it's good. I like it
It,
better. So
is it going to be on Cooking with Maddie?
yeah, I'm actually so I did a test run yesterday as far as my buddy Mike, who does I do Village Idiots with.
Yes, totally.
He's
We'll
he's
get into
doing
that.
he's doing a vlog right now, and this kid Sam is his like videographer guy, very cool us dude. And we shot like a Life with a Noche yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, I was like, "Hey, I made these dough balls because I wanted to make pizza to test out to make sure like the dough recipe was right." So we didn't shoot like one of my episodes, but I want to start doing instead of my, in addition to my comedy reels, I want to do like a just like a pizza Friday, like more like visually stimulating. And then I
Yeah.
talk for like a second or two about what I put on it and try to be funny real briefly because I just see food TikToks crush. And now I'm like, okay, I have my comedy, like my whole page is comedy TikToks
Right.
and reels and whatnot. So now I love cooking. I love pizza. People love pizza too. Let those do their food viral bullshit and get
Yeah.
people to my page. So I just don't want to be known as the cooking guy, but I think I've established myself enough where that wouldn't be the case. So
No, I agree. I think that your videos are so funny, but Cooking with Maddie, when I discovered you, I was like, "Oh man." I said discovered you like I'm some talent agent. When I discovered
yeah,
Matty Chymbor. No, but when I first
yeah, I'm at a dive bar doing cooking with Maddie on an open mic.
have
Be like,
I
that
got
kid's
a
got
job for
something.
you, buddy.
Yeah,
No.
take these mushrooms first.
You're gonna love them, kid. No, when I figured out who you were, that you were a person that exists in the world that does comedy, I saw Cooking with Maddie, and I thought this guy is so fucking funny, and the food looks
That's funny.
delicious.
I,
It's not like you're making like shitty
shit.
food. Yeah, you're making
Yeah.
really good food. So I love when you post a little Cooking with Maddie. I think that's really fun. I love your TikToks. You make, so for anyone who doesn't know, you bring inanimate objects or like or like things like feelings and stuff. You bring them to life. Is that an accurate description of what you do, Maddie?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, I think in like metaphor, so like I'll act out anxiety. I mean, I'll act out like coffee. I mean, your cell phone. I basically just act out any scenario where I play the thing. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
did the one a long time ago, your cell phone setting your alarms in the morning. And I did
Mm-hmm.
like a little like business office scene where like one guy comes out, like, okay, he wants it at this time, this time, this time.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's things that, and it's just like metaphors for stuff, but that's a good representation of it. I'm trying to like do more, but I think to just for the general audience, I mean, that's a great way to put what I do for the most part. I
Yeah.
just act out your age. I'll act out turning an age. I'll act
Mm-hmm.
out blah blah blah. But it's all it's weird. Like because sometimes I watch them and I'm like, it's crazy. People follow along because how like bizarre the scenario where like even when I did like your dick walking on your girlfriend using her vibrator and
That
like
one was
the
great.
the act of sex is dancing, but like yet people
Yeah.
still make the connection, which I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I overthink it. I'm like, do they get this? And then they do, and I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna keep doing it.
No, it's really I think it's really niche, and I actually listened to an episode of your podcast a while back where you were talking about how someone was kind of biting your style and doing those types of videos,
Oh
but
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
I'll I'll be honest with you, Maddie. I haven't seen anybody do videos like yours, or even if they've attempted to try to make them like yours, nearly half as good. So you definitely are making a great name for yourself in that
Oh,
genre.
thank you. Yeah, it's very. I mean, like, it's funny because like people see them and they're very silly and goofy and fun, and I do put a lot into them. I mean that if I'm gonna rank what's the hardest part about them, it's just solely coming up with the idea at this point. Like the editing, I tend to think all my videos, it's very serendipitous where it's like, I started doing videos like cooking with Matty, and it got me used to doing videos.
Uh
And
huh.
then I kept upping the bar. I don't know when you came on at Cooking with Matty, but like they used to be selfie mode with my hand, and
Mm-hmm.
then they evolved to like me learning how to use Premiere and edit things in and do all
Wow.
this crazy shit. And then from there, I remember like, it built up. So I guess going back, I mean, the editing aspect of my reels is like the easy part. It's just coming up with the ideas. And yeah, when people, I mean, like the kid I opened for was the one. I mean, I've learned to like just move past it. It sounds very like childish, and people who aren't in like entertainment and all this stuff it sounds like I'm bitching, but like when you finally find something that works, and this business is so hard to like find something that attracts a lot of people to
Yeah.
you, it's so exciting. And just to see the people, there was two people when that happened. The people that were like, bro, that's awesome, good for you, I'm proud of you, blah blah blah. And then there was the people that were like, hey, I'm gonna do exactly fucking that. And you're just like, what do you and I was just like, what the fuck? Like,
Right.
why wouldn't you, put your flair on it, do it? They would just like knock it off. And that's what the problem with the internet is now, where uh it's so conducive of like encouraging stealing, where they're like,
Yeah.
it's a challenge. You're like, no, that's my video, you fucking idiot. Like,
No, it's not a
and
challenge.
I mean, it was such a wake up call, because I mean, I had like one other person try to knock off Cooking with Maddie, and it was so bad. I was like, all right, beat it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But when I did the videos, the amount of people, strangers, I'd get tagged in videos where they would do it verbatim. It was a whole new like world of like, it was very exciting that it was working. And then it was also like a whole shock of like, oh, people steal it. Oh, your peers steal it. What the fuck? What's going on? And the kid who took it was the kid I opened for forever. Like, he'll never to this day like admit to it, even though people have like literally told him. And I'm not malicious anymore. I don't care, because people like you, where you're like, yours are the better ones. And I've
The
had people
best
be like,
ones,
dude,
not the better ones, the best
uh,
ones.
oh, thank you. So it's a good learn of like, at the end of the day, like when you see big artists and you see versions of that artist, the end of the day, I'm the one setting the trend and raising the bar. And
Right.
they're always going to have to be behind me, maybe when I'm like level and I'm doing a certain style. And if they want to keep following me, but like one thing I was like, okay, if you want to copy me now, you better know how to edit very well. You better, like, that's why if I
Mm-hmm.
keep raising the bar, um, it kind of people just can't follow it, even though when I do meme ones. But yeah, the kid who I opened for, like, he was like, mind you, I opened for him for like 5 years, never shouted me out really. It's weird, we're
Yeah.
like best friends, but in entertainment you learn very quickly, you have you have like entertainment friends, which are people that they're I compare it to like how close you can get with a coworker. You know what I'm saying? Where you have
Yes.
your work friend, but at the flip of a hat, if your boss has a promotion, they will throw you under the bus or say go fuck you. Not everybody, but
Yeah.
like it's that vibe of like, oh, we're work friends. We're not real life friends. But
Or
when
even
he
if
did
you
that,
stop working at a job, then you don't see them anymore. You're not even keeping in contact, and this person used to know all your personal business and
it's
everything.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the thing with LA, that people that consider it fake. I go, it's not fake. You're just coworkers with 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And those 1,000 people you're with every day, and you're all going for the same thing. So inevitably there's going to be shit talking, envy, competitiveness. You do find true friends within that
Of
have your
course.
back. And But so anyways, this kid, I mean, I opened for forever. I'm not going to go into this too much, but
Yeah.
he was like, hey man, I love your videos. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Rather than like sharing it to his huge following, I remember one day he's like, I'm going to start doing videos. And I was like, oh, cool. He's like, can you send me one of your Premiere files? I want to see how you do the text. And I was just like, oh, it's I can't. It's not going to carry over because you need to. And it was more like jargon of like editing.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, like a fucking 2 weeks later, like verbatim doing what I did. And it was just shitty because when you have such a big following, like his just took off. So
Right.
as mine were leveling off and arguably teetering down because more people were making videos on Reels, his, because he has a huge following, just shot up. And you're just like, it was just like such a shitty period of like, I was so excited my career was finally doing something, but then to see like people around you, and it's a good lesson. I mean, I'm
Good
over it
lesson.
now. I know.
And that's what
Yeah.
life is about, especially like in this field. You're going to learn lessons like that, and probably that lesson is going to protect you from something in the future, no matter what it is. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I now with stuff like that, I mean, any lesson ever in entertainment, you're like, oh, won't do that again. Or I
Exactly.
remember that. I mean, like the first one ever is like, don't fucking count your chickens before the eggs hatch, where
Right.
people are like, you're going to do this thing. And then you're like, I will not believe you until it's already done, because the amount
Mm-hmm.
of people who ask you to do shit, who offer things to you. So this
It's all
was just
bullshit.
another
Yeah.
one. It was a very like broad scale lesson of like, oh, you're now a thing that people look at, and a lot of people look at and they want to do. And you realize everybody wants to be funny. They'll do it at any expense of literally ripping off your shit. And you see some that like people like their videos do good and you're like, that's my fucking idea. But I mean, it's whatever. I mean, you got to just trust that you're the creative one in the mix, and yours is going to be the trendsetter. So I don't even know how the fuck we got on this topic, but thank you. Yeah.
I
Oh, my
just said I
podcast.
liked
So
cooking. Yeah, I said I liked cooking with Maddie.
you're like, I like cooking. And then I'm like, people steal from me.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about Village Idiots, but I also, before getting into Village Idiots, and I know because I listen, I know it's not consistent, and I know you do what the fuck you want with the Matty Chymbor podcast. I
Yeah.
know they
Stick to
come out.
mine first.
I know they come out whenever. Is the Matty Chymbor podcast ever coming back, or are you strictly Village Idiots right now?
No, I almost did one yesterday, but I was running around and I wanted to do a couple things. That's the problem with it. It's like, yes, first, I mean, I have full intentions of being more strict with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess the reason I stopped it is just me, like strictly like how well my reels and TikToks do and how long it takes me versus how well my podcast does and how long it takes me. I mean, it's so far from each other where I was like, I just stopped doing it because they weren't doing well. Although they're starting like I see they get like a couple hundred views on YouTube or something. Like, all right, that's okay. But
Yeah.
I do want to do them. I want to do it simultaneously with the Village Idiots, so they start to feed off each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just it's really just the amount of time I have in my day. I'm not a full time comic. I do have a full time day job.
Right.
So that's the tough part. It's like I have X amount of hours to do what I want to do, and I think right now I have to prioritize the reels and TikToks because that's
Yeah.
what's getting the most people. And I tell friends, you don't get famous from podcasts. You get famous and that from this other thing, and then it spills over and your podcast will follow. So I was like,
Yeah.
let me keep getting bigger while I do my random one every 2 month episodes, just to kind of remind people it's there.
Yeah.
So when I quit my job, I can start doing it more regularly, and it's
Yeah.
like it becomes a thing.
And how is Village Idiots? I've listened to, I think you guys have put out 4 episodes.
It's good. I mean, me and Mike, we've known each other forever out here. I've
Mm-hmm.
never done a podcast with somebody else. I mean, I've done podcasts like this format where
Uh-huh.
it's somebody
You're a
else's and I
guest.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the first couple we were, I mean, if you just to kind of get inside my brain and probably his as well, is like we're just trying to like feel each other out, find a rapport in a way
Mm-hmm.
of like, I mean, we hang out, but to find like what's funny about it. So the first couple were really like digging in. I mean, we're one of our biggest things is trying to get the quality just good.
Yeah.
Like just really like when you watch it, it's you want people to not be like, oh, this looks like shit. So we're really trying to do that. But that aside, I think just really finding what works, what's our thing, and honing that. And I think the last couple we put out, we're like, oh, that was good. Like we like that. Okay. So we're starting to find like a like I said, a rapport with each other that's like
Yeah.
funny and it's working and it clips well and stuff like that. But it's a work in progress. I mean, it's good to have somebody keep you like relying on the accountable. Yeah. The Mike and the producer. And I think it all works hand in hand. And I'm hoping that's going to start bleed into my podcast where I put some urgency of getting episodes out.
Yeah, your podcast is great. Your solo I mean, Village Idiots is very funny, but your solo podcast is great too. You have a really, you have a knack for
talking. Yeah.
Matty Chymbor, you filled a void for me, so I was very happy
Thank
to
you.
find
Well,
your
good.
podcast. I loved it. I was like, it's just like you have such a, you know, I do an intro on this show and I think about it and I'm meticulous about it and I'm meticulous about the editing style of it. I'm meticulous about the words I choose and I try to make it a little like poetic and rhythmy the way I speak. But when I first started this podcast, I did try to just go off the cuff and I was like, that doesn't necessarily work for what I'm trying to achieve. So I commend you for being more off the cuff. I think that's a skill in itself.
Yeah, I try to like look at it too where I kind of, that's how I do my stand up in a way where it's not off the cuff, but I tend to think like I don't know the set list in my head, although I'm really trying to be better at being disciplined with a plan. And when I have a plan in place, I can move forward. But like with my podcast, it's just a good exercise of seeing where my brain goes and just saying it out loud. And it's always shocking. Like, I'm not even kidding you. When I start those, I press play and I have nothing planned. And then
I believe it.
Yeah, like some people are like, Matt, you should plan it more. And I'm like, yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm not going to do that. Like, I like that it's like this random run on, this story leads to this one. And what I'm trying to do now is like, going back, it's a good like exercise with stand up because I tell myself like, when you get on a topic, don't just jump away because that's how you kind of develop jokes where sit in the idea in the story and now think of every little thing around it. So on my podcast, the bit about people inventing toilets isn't one sentence, it's 5 minutes because that's how you in turn generate stand-up material. So I try to like use it as like a tool to like grow as a stand-up comic while recording it and making it a podcast. So thank you very much. Cause I mean, I'm confident in it, but when nobody fucks with it, you're just like, what am I doing? Like, I don't even know. And I think it's good because I have people like you were like, dude, it's so good. And I'm like, I was like, is it? But I think getting people to click 2 extra buttons to go to YouTube is like the hardest thing on earth. So when people do it, it's very nice and I'm happy, but I'm trying to make it more flashy now. I don't know if you did watch the last one where I got a camera.
I listen to them usually because YouTube, like if I'm doing other stuff, I like to listen to podcasts on the go. So if I'm doing stuff, I can't have other apps open while I'm with you. So I usually listen on Spotify. I smashed that follow button on Spotify.
Thank you. Yeah. So I guess one thing I'm trying to do where I've noticed the audio listens are like, I'm just like, it's so weird in entertainment where like you go from like posting shit one day and you share it and you're like, it's 5 people and you're like, okay, it's probably my mom's sister and like 3 friends. But then like I'll upload like the audio file to like SoundCloud where it's like my main hub. Yeah. And you just see people, like the next day it's at like 100. You're like, who are these people? Like it's like crazy, but it's so thank you for doing the audio thing. I guess to try to attract YouTube people now, I'm trying to like make it more flashy. It can't just be me here by myself the whole time because it's visually boring. So I'm trying to kind of like all my videos, like I'm trying to just keep leveling it up where it gets to this point where they're like, oh, that's Matty's podcast, not him doing somebody else's. So
right.
So, but yeah, it's a work in progress, and the fact that you listen is very sweet of you. So thank you.
Very sweet. Have you been recognized, Matty?
Ever since these damn videos, it's insane. I swear to God, I've been doing stand-up for 10, 11 years now. I tell people this, I tell comics and people, I'm like, I've been doing stand-up for 10, 11 years and I've never gotten recognized, maybe like randomly.
Yeah.
But it was like somebody like, hey, I saw you at a Flappers open mic. And I'm just like, the fuck? Like, it's a comedy club out here. And I'm like, it was like, but And then I say, at the time I was like, I've been doing videos for, I mean, a year now, but at the time of me saying this, I was like, I've been doing videos for 8 months and I get recognized more now, where, I mean, it's crazy. Like I was at like a 7-Eleven the other day, and the girl in line in front of me turned around. She goes, "Oh my God, I love your videos." And I was at a burger place, and some girl comes up and goes, "Can I get a selfie with you?" Or like, I was in Austin, and
Uh-huh.
me and my friend are at some bar in the middle of nowhere in Austin, and some girl comes up and with my video, she's like, "Is this you?" And I was like, "Yeah." It's like, it's crazy, the power of the
Yeah,
internet. So
it is.
yeah, I do. It's wild. I'm not used to it, because for the first couple of times someone's like, "Are you the guy from Instagram?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And I walked away because I don't want to seem like cocky. But now
No,
I'm trying to
own
like
it.
learn. I know I'm trying to learn how to like handle these interactions, but
Own your celeb, Matty Chymbor. I also have a suggestion for you. You don't have to take it.
oh
I
wow,
think you
we're
should.
getting
No, no, no. It's not like that. I think you should call your. I would never give somebody. People like love
you
to give
should do
suggestions.
this.
You should do this. Your podcast should be 37 minutes to the date. No, not a suggestion in that. I have a suggestion for what you should call your fans.
Oh wow, I love this. Let's hear it.
The Chimbettes.
The Chimbets? What the fuck is that?
A Chimbette is a Matty Chymbor fan.
What is a chip? But like, is that like another word? Something like?
No, it's your last name with the word "et" attached to it. Chimbette. It's gender neutral, so it can be for any person. And if you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a Chimbette. I'm a Matty Chymbor fan." I mean,
Oh
we'll
my
we'll
God.
table it for now, maybe.
I'm gonna put that on my story and say, can I call my fan? First off, my friends are gonna destroy me if I say, can I call my fans
Are
Chimbets?
you gonna give me credit for that, Matty Chymbor?
I will say Rocky said I should call my fans Chimbets, and then it sounds like a type of monkey. That's
Yeah.
like when you said that, I was like, sounds like a some sort of chimpanzee that gambles. No, I'm just
Uh,
kidding.
well, that just popped in my head. I'm like, I think I'm a Chimbette. I'm a Matty Chymbor fan. Now New York. Are you gonna come perform in New York? You said you've performed in Connecticut. You've performed on the East Coast. Have you ever performed in New York? The answer is
Not in
no.
this. Yeah.
So, are you gonna ever come do that?
Yeah, I see a lot of friends lately where, yes, I do want to. I think luckily I have some more friends there now. I mean, with me starting stand up in LA, I just didn't know anyone in New York
Yeah,
City to like, even like, I don't even know where I would start to hit somebody up. But luckily, I have friends that move back there now. I think I can line something up. I mean, I have friends and family in the city. So it's just a matter of like when I do it, how I go about doing it, what are the shows.
yeah.
I was supposed to apply for the New York Comedy Festival, and I fucking didn't, because in the world of stand up,
Why?
I mean, they always want like a tape. And with COVID, all my tapes are so old. I don't
Yeah.
have anything. I know the girl who's like what's the date today? Let me see. I mean,
Today's
yeah, it's
October
next.
3rd. It's Mean Girls Day.
It's oh wow, what does that mean? What is the third in the movie?
In the movie, Aaron turns around to Lindsay Lohan's character and he says, what's the date? And she says, it's October 3rd. And then she says, on October 3rd, he asked me what day it was. So it's a national holiday.
Oh, that's hilarious. Um, my buddy is running a show at the New York Comedy Festival. I mean, I can see maybe that sparks it, but I guess just flying back and lining the whole shit up, it's been such a legwork. And
Yeah.
thank God I've been getting so many more shows in LA now.
Right.
And like literally, that's how shallow entertainment is. If anybody's watching this who does stand up, I mean, it's just like I've always reverse engineered this, where it's like the more followers you get, the more shows you get. So now I do feel confident going there. I don't know. Maybe I'm quitting my job next year. I mean, I don't think any
Woo!
of my
Congratulations.
it's like it's something where I don't know what in the last like year with all this happening and my free time getting eaten up, and I've really been thinking about it. And then I did that one nighter at Zany's in Nashville, and I got off stage and I was happy with it, and the crowd liked it, and it was good. But I just felt like if I had all my day, like when you get a paycheck and a breakdown of your audience
Yeah.
from the comedy club, and you see the numbers and you're like blah blah blah, it all just kind of like went and like made me realize like if you had your day free to work on your videos and build your following and write more comedy, it would all make these numbers bigger. Not that it's just about money, but like even my show, like you would have all day to work on your material, make your show so good where people like you start to, I was like, you could become something if you didn't have your day job holding you down. And I'm at a
Isn't it
point where,
crazy?
yeah, it's like wild where I was like, I'm very rational. Like, I mean, I've been working a day job for 10 years out here, and I'm very conscious of like, I knew I wasn't going to quit until I was ready. But now
Yeah.
that I have a following that got me one-nighters and can get me one-nighters, and I have means of making money with my videos now and this,
Yeah.
that, and the other. I have this like I'm running out of time feeling, and I'm
I
trying to
know.
utilize that where I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be 35 in February. Like, you don't want to quit your job when you're 40 trying to be a stand-up.
No,
Like,
no, no, no. Yeah.
no. So I've been very frugal forever. I have money saved up, and I want to just leave that and then focus on all this stuff, and just see how far I can push it.
Well, I completely relate to you on the just having all the free time to yourself because so I'm an actress, improviser, voiceover, all that stuff. And before the pandemic, I had worked in restaurants in the city for 10 years and
Right.
yeah, and so I was a waitress and I had a really flexible schedule. I worked at a restaurant that was like a frat house. It was so much fun, but it was probably like too much fun, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like just constantly like we're doing tequila shots at 3:30 in the afternoon and you're like, oh, okay, well, like I can't
Yeah.
continue this. And not luckily, but that restaurant closed down and then I got a job somewhere else and the pandemic happened. So I was on unemployment and just like living my best life. I couldn't do, I mean, obviously you don't want the pandemic to happen, but you're like, this is amazing. Someone's just gonna pay me to be alive. I love this. And
Right.
I was so happy. I felt like very free. I felt really good. And then around December of last year, I had been saying for a long time I wanted to start a podcast. And I also was kind of feeling like, what am I doing? Because we're not doing in-person auditions anymore. I'm not getting as many voiceover auditions. Like I'm not somebody who's even being on unemployment. I wasn't somebody who was laying on the couch all day. Like I'm a busybody.
Right.
So I started this podcast in December and I just missed those nights after improv shows where all the comedians are hanging out outside,
Hanging
partying,
out. Right.
laughing. Yeah, just like that camaraderie. And
Right.
I told myself I want to talk to funny people and if we have to do it over this platform now, I'm going to do it over this platform. So I just started the podcast in December of last year. And Maddie, when I tell you that I just was like working at it for 8 to 10 hours a day and I couldn't have been happier. I was building it from the ground up. I was getting
Right. Right. Right.
and I was already pretty good at editing because I have to edit voiceover auditions. So I was like I can do this. And then
Right.
as the unemployment started to come to an end, I was like, well, fuck, I need to get a job now and I really didn't want to go back to restaurants, so I started
Right.
applying for jobs in radio. But turns out like radio don't want an on-air personality who's not who doesn't have a communications background.
Really?
Yeah, like people they really want people with a communications background and I have
The
a theater.
the degree everybody gets is a joke. That's the one place it's good.
It's like good
Like,
for
that's
radio.
hilarious.
So I closed my computer after applying for all these radio jobs one day, and one of my girlfriends called me and she's like, hey, so this position opened up for this children's theater I'm working for, and now I have a job as a performance coordinator and lead performer for this children's theater company, and it's amazing. It's in my field. I still get to work on my podcast, and I don't have to go back to restaurants. But I feel you on like the working 9 to 5 aspect of it. You're like, I would just work on my comedy all day long if I could.
I wish, dude. Oh my God. I mean, like, yeah, it's frustrating just to be like, just not have the time. And it's just like, I swear the last like 4 weeks, like my day job, I do construction management, by the
Yeah.
way. Like, I can't, so it just eats up my time and my energy, and my stress is just like through the roof. And it's like, I tell people, I'm like, it's a great day job to have. I mean, it's a career job,
Yeah.
but to leave work and then have to be like funny now, like it doesn't
It's
work. Like,
hard. Yeah.
no. And then like to be thinking of like, I'm so annoyed when I feel like, I mean, you become hot in entertainment, but it goes away where I'm like, I'm literally like, I have people wanting to watch my videos and I don't fucking time to do them. Like, what am
Right.
I doing? So I'm definitely on like senioritis mode now where I'm like, I'm staying there because they give me I have to stay for a year basically.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, I just want to be in it and like just be thinking comedy all the time. Like when I go do weekends and you're like, I'm a comedian now and you get to be a comic for 4 days straight.
So
Your
fun.
brain it's fun. Your brain starts to constantly look for more comedy things. Like when you go from like serious, rational construction guy back to comedy, it's not always easy to like, you don't like, I'm not looking for funny shit all day. I am, but I'm not in a way. So, yeah, I'm just ready to like just dive in, and I've saved up enough, and I just want to be able to like you said, like you found a thing within your field, and it makes sense now. It's like I got last weekend I got a writing job, and I'm just like, that's the shit I'm talking about. Where it's like I got my buddy's a showrunner, and he hired me for Saturday and Sunday to help write a pilot for this thing, and I got paid for it. It's like that's what I want to do. Like even if it's not stand up, it's in the realm of comedy. So it just takes forever to get there, and it's just like I don't know. I'm just trying to
get there.
Do it.
Well, you're doing it right now, Matty, and it's really fun to watch, and it's fun to watch the content that you put out. I will tell you, message your friend in the New York Comedy Festival. Get yourself in, because a closed mouth don't get fed, so you have to open your mouth and ask, and I'm sure they'll let you do it.
That's funny. I was trying to think of how we got on this topic, and I love like podcasting because sometimes there's a question and then it goes so over here. And as I was answering and it's probably my fault. As I was answering this question, I'm like, what was the first question? But yeah, the New York thing. So I was talking about followers. Now I'm trying to remember how we got here. So we're talking about the followers, blah blah blah. But I'll definitely hit her up on I just want to make sure it's worth my while. I'll try to lump in like a Connecticut trip into it, so maybe I stay there and then I take the train down. I grew up in Connecticut. I'm not even kidding you. I think I went to New York. I used to go to Yankee games, but like you just drive in, you go there and leave. Yeah. I'm not even kidding you. Like as far as walking around the city, I think I've been to New York like 3 times.
Really?
Like the city, as far as like I went once with my cousin to party, and then I went another time with my mom, ex-girlfriend, and aunt and uncle, and like family. We went to like a Rockefeller, the Chicks with the Leg Christmas show.
The Rockettes.
The Rockettes, yeah, the Chimbettes. But I'm so like I've navigated cities before, but I guess that's another thing where I'm like, I don't even know where the fuck I'm going. I don't even know what areas where you should be getting shows. So I need to pick the brain of my New York friends. And maybe
I know plenty of New York stand-up comedians that I can put you in contact with that would help you out big time with that whole thing. So you can always use me as a resource, and I can give you a pretty good tour of New York. The pizza is not as good as New Haven, but we'd have some fun, and we'll give you some mushrooms.
Yeah, let's do mushrooms and go eat shitty pizza. It's funny. Yeah, New York pizza, everyone's like, oh, New York has the best pizza. And then it sounds so sad when I'm like, Connecticut has the best pizza. They're like, I beat it, you fucking nerd.
Go steal a flag. Well, Matty, where can everybody follow you, find you, see your stuff? Give them the plugs.
I guess across all platforms, it's just at Matty Chymbor, CHYMBOR. Instagram, Reels. I don't really do my Instagram and my Reels is the same video. I just double dip because I'm trying to make my life easier. I do have my podcast, which you spoke very highly about. I have my own, and then I have the Village Idiots podcast. So those are both funny. What else? That's really it. If you like cooking, I have old cooking videos. I'm going to put out the new ones, and just feel free to comment. If people have ideas and want to tell me what my fan should be called, let me know, because it's still working. It's a work in progress.
We're tabling Chimbets.
It'll be let's throw it on some merch and see how well it does.
What do you guys call the Village Idiot listeners? You guys call them idiots?
We're working with that, and we kind of like the idea of we've thought of merch, right? So first off, I'm going to take credit. I thought of Village Idiots. I think it's funny.
It is funny. Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like going back to my wildly average stuff where it's humorously self-deprecating, but I guess idiots. We in the lower right corner on YouTube, it says "Become an Idiot," which is a subscribe button.
Okay.
So I guess maybe it is that as general as it is. I'm hoping people, if they walk around one day and say I'm an idiot, our podcast will be big enough where they know what they're talking about.
Fingers crossed. We're the Party God Squad. My listeners, they're the Party God Squad.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you and what do you put this? Do you put this on like across the board, like everything?
I put it on pretty much every podcast platform, and then I do put them on YouTube as well. But it's not as like I have no visual like draw-in, so it's just
right.
The raw ass Zoom, and it takes me a while because I do edit them, and then I told you I do an intro, but on YouTube, because I do the intro and I chop up the audio of it, it's just the picture of the podcast. So I mean, we're going till mid-December, and that's when I'm gonna wrap season 1, and then I'm planning on like highly leveling up for season 2 because we're rocking and rolling over here. I deserve it, Matty. I deserve it.
That's awesome. I mean, you'd be shocked. I think, are you trying to get a studio, or are you trying to do like just like up your apartment area where the podcast is, assuming that's where you do it?
I do it in my apartment. Studio, no, that's not really where my goals lie. But it would be great because I live on the noisiest street in Queens. It's literally like if there was a cartoon that took the audio of New York City and put it in a cartoon, they would come to my street. That's how loud it is.
Just dump trucks and Italian dudes and Puerto Rican guys yelling.
Yeah, it's just like sirens. I live around the corner from a police station. I live right off the highway. It's like the RFK bridge and the BQE and the subway's right there, and there's a Burger King. I mean, I'm like telling people, I shouldn't give away the details.
Yeah, what's your address so they can wave?
But they could wave. Sometimes I just like stand. I have a really big window in the front that faces the street, and sometimes I just stand there and take bong rips because I think it's funny.
And do your mushrooms, and then you press your face against a window.
No. For anybody listening, I just did a press my face against the window. Matty, it was so much fun chatting with you. I feel like this is, if not, this might be the longest episode I've ever recorded.
Oh, wow. Good. Yeah. See?
So it's going to be a week of editing.
And they better like it too, or I'm going to
fucking like it.
I'm going to report it.
Don't report it. Matty, thank you so much for doing the show. We are going to hang up and chat off of this, but I just really appreciate you, dropping by.
Thank you so much for having me. We'll do, and when you get the new studio, we'll do round 2, and we'll check in on my mushroom addiction at that point.
You can be addicted to them, but we'll talk about that in person. All right, Matty, it was so much fun. Thank you so much for doing the podcast. We'll talk soon, okay?
See you later. Thank you.